Hey guys, Tisha here. Let me tell you something. We can say what we want to say about Dr. Heavenly, that she stirs the pot, that she creates drama, that she does too much. But Heavenly, and Phaedra a little bit at this point, is the comedic relief to this show. Within the first couple seconds of the video, seeing Heavenly in that downward facing dog and watching her wig fall off with straight laughs. If you haven't figured it out yet, we are here to do another review of the Married to Medicine crew. So let's begin. We start with Phaedra. Phaedra is at her home where Quad shows up to have a talk. One thing I can say about Phaedra and Quad is immediately you feel good vibes coming through the television screen as they dance and twerk and talk. Quad says that one thing that she loves about Phaedra is that they've always had fun together and that she really enjoys being around her. We find out that Quad has been taking several trips to Africa and she has met a man that she is dating, and she said her man is fine. Now we see a picture of the man. He does look a lot better than Greg. To each his own as far as appearance is concerned, because I don't think he's that fine, but he's fine. He's Quad's fine. She doesn't tell us his name. She says it's fairly new, so she doesn't want to divulge all of that, but she's happy and she's been enjoying dating. She then talks about the ladies, and Phaedra's asking her like what's going on with them, and she says that she's kind of distanced herself from them because last season, especially that reunion, was a lot, and that she was kind of disappointed by people like Heavenly. Like, she expected to have issues with Toya, but she didn't expect to have an issue with Heavenly. They then talk about Sweetie. I don't understand why even Bravo is giving us her nickname. Like, her name is Letitia, so call her Tisha or whatever. But the fact that y'all keep putting Sweetie as her bio name and all that other stuff is getting on my nerves. But she talks about her, and Phaedra says, like, you know, I've been around her a little bit and she seems okay. There is a 23-year age difference with her and your ex-husband, and I've noticed that she has gotten really close to Toya. Now, Quad says that hearing that Toya is close to her doesn't shock her because Toya doesn't like Quad. They show all these different flashbacks of the things that either Quad or Toya has said about each other, and I'm like, you all know the root of your problem. At this point, I don't know why, because Toya and her have been going at it for so long that I can't even remember how it originated. At this point, though, Quad says that she knows that they're just not going to be friends. And I feel like that's okay. Like, y'all can coexist, but they have a problem coexisting because the both of them tend to shade one another. Phaedra lets her know that Toya mentioned around the group that Quad got a DUI, and Quad says she was cited because she declined to do a field test, but it has been handled. The charges have been dropped. Her lawyer has taken care of it, and that's that. So apparently Toya missed the memo that the case was dropped. Quad said that with everything going on, she's not even really focused on Toya, but she is concerned about the way Heavenly treats her. She says she doesn't like it. Like, if you say that we're supposed to be sisters, why are you treating me this way? Why would you do stuff like send a picture that she took of her and Sweetie, Tisha, and in the caption you have brunch with a new friend? Why would you send it to her? And I'm like, okay, that is really messy of Heavenly. But I also feel like Heavenly is doing this. Heavenly is stirring the pot. Heavenly is helping to keep Quad relevant. Because if she didn't do things like this, what would Quad have to discuss? What would Quad have to talk about? What would Quad be on this show for? Because for seasons, Quad hasn't really given us anything. She kind of stopped giving us stuff after everything happened with her and her ex-husband. What else does she have to speak on? Quad says she doesn't like her hanging out with her and she feels like Heavenly has deserted her, even though Heavenly feels like she's been deserted. Phaedra says basically neither one of them have reached out to each other, and the phone works both ways. We then have Letitia. We see Tisha, aka Sweet Tea, in the kitchen waiting for her future husband. She's cooking. We hear about this great food that she makes and how blessed she is to have Greg and how she works from home so she's able to do this. As he arrives, she gives him a hug, she greets him, she places food, they sit down, they eat, and they're talking about this wedding. And he's saying how he doesn't really care about the formalities of the wedding. He just wants to marry her, that he's paying a lot of money for this wedding. And she's like, well, I'm paying for it too. So he goes, well, of that percentage, how much are you paying? And she says 90. With people like Greg, you have to be careful because there are little glimpses that he likes to have control, which even though he's saying at a point the age difference bothered him, I think that the age difference is what allows him to be able to date and marry someone like Sweet Tea, because at this point, she's more reliant on him. But best believe once she gets some of her own money, more of her own money, it's going to change. As she's talking about how stressful she is about the wedding and doing all the planning and all that other stuff, and how much it's taking for her to plan it, I can't help but wonder why they didn't pay for a planner. A wedding planner could have alleviated a lot of that stress. Yes, you would have had to put out more money, but you would have had time on your hands and you wouldn't be as stressed leading up to it, and things wouldn't seem so chaotic and so hectic. Like it's a month out and you haven't found your dress. Most people would have done that already. How long have y'all been engaged that you're just now looking for this dress? As she's complaining, he's like, look, I don't want to hear about anything about the wedding. I don't want to be active with it. It's concerning to me that he said that, but a lot of men don't want to be a part of the wedding. I think it's just really important when you get into that process to specify what it is that each of you are going to be responsible for. So if you want him to be responsible for the guest list, then say that. But you can't expect him to worry about color palettes and all those other nuances because it's just not his thing. They agree that, they love one another. And in the end, what really matters is the marriage, not the wedding. We then have Jackie. We see Jackie talking to Dr. Bullard about how full her day is because she has an appointment with the brat. She says that I want you to know that I've talked to the brat and I have let her know that if she happens to go into labor or if something happens and I'm not here, that you are her next point of contact. Dr. Bullard was hired over a year ago by Jackie, and Jackie is now giving herself kudos for Dr. Bullard because she's been able to take some of that pressure off of Jackie, and she's been able to take some of those patients so that Jackie is able to now get out of the office by 2 and have free weekends, which not only helps Jackie, but it helps her marriage because we know that is one of the things that Curtis has always complained about is the time. We then see the brat who comes in. We find out that the brat is 48 years old and she was pregnant through IVF. One of the things that I love is that whenever Jackie sees a patient, she is going to take the time to educate us, not just the patient, but us, the viewers, about our body. She points out how high blood pressure is a concern, her age is a concern, and her being an African-American woman is a concern because we die 3 to 5 times more than other people. That's insane when you think about those numbers. And knowing all of this, they have a watchful eye on her. I like that whether you're a celebrity or you're a normal person, an everyday person, that Jackie treats all her clients the same well. Now, I'm sure that she made some stipulations as to, who is allowed to be involved with her, because even though people are supposed to follow HIPAA, there are people who do things and tell things. So I'm sure that she has a special team designated to her, but I'm talking about the overall treatment seems to be the same across the board. We then have Toya, who is on the phone with Sweet Tea because she's inviting her to her Toya's Wine Club event that she is the CEO of. She's talking to Sweet Tea and I said, okay, they really do look alike. It's something about this the way their mouth is set that it has me thinking like, okay, they look similar on this FaceTime. I don't quite understand what she's the CEO of, because these aren't wines that she created. At least it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like she's with a company that has wines, and she creates her own club, has her name on it. And as a result, because she picks out a combo of wines, they do those wines for the month. And I guess she gets a portion of that, but that doesn't make her a CEO to me. Anyways, she says that she wants to have a talk. Oh, well, we sit here, get off the phone with her because Eugene comes down and he's like, yeah, nice talking to you, Tisha, but she got to go. We got to spend some quality time together. As Eugene sits, she's telling him, we need to talk to the boys because they're horny and we got to have the sex talk. They mentioned you and how you had the Playboy Bunny thing on Apple TV. He was watching a documentary and he's like, okay, let's do it now. So the boys come down. They talk to them about sex, let them know that it's okay to have feelings and thoughts about sex, but they have to be responsible. They talk about pregnancy and the different types of STDs and about ejaculation and sperm and orgasms. And they basically want them to know that they want them to be open with them as far as what and when they want to do something, and they would prefer for them to wait. Overall, they did a good job. Kudos to the parents and the boys, because that is a comfortable discussion to have on national television. We then have Tisha, Phaedra, Toya, and another friend that she met from offline are meeting up to watch Tisha try on dresses. Toya, we're told by Tisha, is like a big sis, and she's inviting Phaedra because she's a close friend of Greg's, and she's trying to kind of, get in good with them. We see her try on different dresses, and those two ladies are extremely opinionated. If they're not complaining about the color, then they're talking about the way she looks in it, the way her butt looks, the way her stomach looks, because Phaedra doesn't think she has enough ass. She says it's a buttermilk biscuit that she should be having, but she has a pancake. We find out that her and that friend met up from a support group for age gap relationships. I don't understand what you need support for that for, but she says that there's certain judgment and things that come along with it, with dating an older man. Like, she's been out with Greg and had people ask her if she's okay. And she says, it can be annoying at times. They then ask, Phaedra and them are talking about like, well, is it really different, And she brings up how that the penis is the same, but the balls are different. And Phaedra says, yeah, they probably drop. They're not as high. We find out the wedding is at the end of the month and she's still looking for a dress. We then see Toya getting ready for the wine gathering as she's putting on this freakum dress that I don't understand why she's wearing with the ladies. I would have thought she would have wore that on a night out with her husband because it was so low that she couldn't even wear underwear with it. So the fact that she wore this dress out with her girlfriends, okay. Eugene helps her out and tells her to be ready for the shady comments that may come from the party. We see a montage of the different things that were said, and I feel like that the key for this to Toya is to enter this knowing exactly what she's presenting and do it in a manner that makes sense. Because you saying that you, the CEO of a wine club, would not work with those ladies because they're going to ask questions. And later on, we see that she did do a good job. All the ladies, with the exception of Quad, are at this event. She lets them know that she has over 200 wines to choose from in her club. Then, for some kind of reason, Tisha brings up how they went dress shopping and how Phaedra was making comments about her butt being challenged and how Toya said that she needed to put on a girdle was mean. I do feel that the delivery might have been mean, but let's be clear. If I'm friends with someone and I'm trying on a dress, I'm going to be honest with my friend, and I want my friends to be honest with me about how I look in the dress. Tell me about my problem areas. Don't have me walking around looking like a biscuit popping out of a can. Make sure that my stuff is put together. And that is what, even though they were doing it in what may seem a crude way, that's what the ladies were doing. They say they weren't trying to be mean. Phaedra says they were just talking about foundational things, like a girdle is a foundational thing, which it is, especially if you're someone who's thicker. Even like Spanx, that's a thing. I've told a friend before, like, oh yeah, you're gonna need some Spanx with that. That's not me being mean. That's me letting her know you're gonna need some Spanx with that. Heavenly brings up how someone said that you were in therapy for dating an older man. They chuckle about it. We know immediately it's Phaedra based on her expression, and Phaedra explains like, okay, let me clarify. Then she clarifies that it's an age gap relationship group. While Heavenly is asking what you all talk about in the group, Tisha says, do you want to join? Like, she was very defensive. Heavenly clarifies she doesn't need to join because it's only a 6-month age difference with her and her husband. Toya says that Heavenly is a wind-up doll, and that's what Heavenly does. But Heavenly is asking the same questions that the other ladies are asking. So the fact that it was just a problem that Heavenly said it kind of shows that when it comes to Heavenly, they are on the defense. Tisha then says that the ladies are friends of Greg, but, and she says this in confessionals, but they're damn near her grandma's age. So here you are talking about the ladies and their age when your fiance is the same age and maybe and even older than some of those ladies. So don't sit here in their faces and say that you want to be friends with this group and then you go in confessionals and you talk mess behind their back. The difference is they're saying things to Toya about, not to Toya, see, she looks so much like her, to Tisha about her relationship, but they're saying it in her face. Simone asks if there's anything else that she has problems with. She brings up how she didn't like how they were all ganging up on her at her home about Quad. Jackie does apologize for it. Simone then says to her, like, you are coming in a little feisty and a little hot. What's going on? She gets a little teary-eyed. She takes her to the bathroom. Her and Simone go in the bathroom, and Simone's like, look, basically, you got to understand that this group is a bunch of tough bees, and that I understand you're trying to be cool, but it's just going to take time. Show them the sweet tea side. Don't show them this other side. Dr. Jackie and Alicia, while sitting there, are having a conversation with Phaedra because they think it's kind of odd, especially Jackie, that Phaedra is hanging out with Sweet Tea, knowing that she's close to Quad. And she's like, I've been very honest with Quad about our interactions, and Quad is okay with it. And Dr. Jackie's like, look, if I divorce my husband, you cannot be friends with him. I do find it odd that Phaedra is hanging out with the two of them to the extent that she does. We know that she's close to Quad, but if Quad doesn't have a problem with it, then I can't say anything. If I was Quad, though, I would watch the conversations that I have, because at the end of the day, Phaedra's allegiance seems to be to Greg. They don't know what's going on with Quad, but Phaedra feels like they should all just talk about it. They do this icebreaker thing with the wine where there's different types of wine, same brand. So like it's a Pinot, but there's a box version of Pinot, and then there's Toya's version, and they're supposed to pick which one is the box one. Simone says she doesn't know anything about the different types of wine. She just knows about liquor. Heavenly says, at this point, I trust anything that you put your lips on. So I know we're going to be good. They do the icebreaker thing. It's cute. Simone ends up winning. She's the one who was able to guess what's what. And she liked the box wine, it seems, more than she liked the other wine. As they're finishing up, Tisha gets up and the camera zooms in on the tag that's still on her dress. That's embarrassing. Jackie said, oh, she wanted to take it back because she's not married yet. Jackie is throwing a little shade towards Sweet Tea's way. They joke around about the tag. Sweet Tea says she's going. We see Heavenly embrace Toya, and she tells Toya that she's proud of her. Toya says that is a huge compliment coming from a hater. So even when Heavenly is being nice, it's an issue. Finally, we end the episode with the scene with Phaedra. She meets up with Greg where they talk about him wanting to be married again. She lets us know that she's known him for about 20 years and she just wants to make sure that her friend is making the right decision. She is a little skeptical because she's not sure if she wants to ever get married herself. She said that one of the keys to a good marriage is having a similar mindset, and she feels like Tisha is marrying Paw Paw. He said he doesn't know if he is the predator at this point or the prey, but she made him feel comfortable and he feels safe when he's with her. Phaedra makes a comment about like you feel safe with her, and he's like, yeah, Quad scared me. Phaedra then suggests a prenup and says that you need to make sure that you protect yourself. How does she feel about that? He says she's okay with it. We'll see how okay she is with it. Phaedra said like you can always add clauses about like how much money she would get after a certain amount of years and all those other things. And she says you need to protect yourself because you're the one with the money. You're the one with the bigger account. In the end, she wants Greg to be happy. She wants him to have kids and she wants him to have a family. And I don't know what that looks like at his age. I think that he should have put some sperm to the side. Hopefully all his sperm is quality sperm because he is significantly older. And I know men don't run into the same problems with their gestation as women do. We get called geriatric patients, geriatric pregnancy and stuff of that nature after I think like 35. So what happens to the swimmers? Who knows? He said at the end of the day, she comes off as real sweet and all of that, but she's all woman. So I'm interested in seeing how this plays out. You guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Please like and please subscribe if you have not already. Until next time.